Big Randy was born on June 8, 1949 in Rexburg, Idaho. His mother was Marcia Erickson Fallhaber. He was raised by his mother's parents, Grace and Eldon Erickson, right here in Fairview on Bitter Creek. For me, he has always been Big Randy. And those of you who don't know, I am the favorite daughter-in-law. So Big Randy loved to give people nicknames. Whenever we would see each other, we'd hug and he'd say, "How's my favorite daughter-in-law?"
My name's Ron Bayless. Got into safety because of Randy. You know, I was working at the golf course in Evanston, and I knew the CEO of Elkhorn. We were talking one day, and he says, "Do you want to try something new? I'm looking for a Wyoming safety guy." I'm like, "Sure, I'll go try it." I remember when I walked in and seen Randy, he scared the hell out of me.
And I will sail my best till the river runs dry, like a bird upon the wind. These waters are my sky. I'll never reach my destination if I never try, so I will sail my best till the river runs dry.
Randy Mark Erickson was truly one of a kind. He lived by his own rules and danced to his own drums. He touched so very many, but it was always in his own way. You knew if Dad liked you. Dad was the type to tell you what you needed to hear, not to tell you what you wanted to hear. I think this goes back to his childhood. Dad didn't have your typical childhood, but he never said he wanted it to be any different. Dad wasn't perfect, and he never proclaimed to be the best dad, but even through his faults, I do know he was the dad I needed him to be.
The weekend before he passed away, we were there in St. George and we were talking about his book, and I asked him if he had been working on it, and he said no, but he was going to. He was going to start working on it. And I had to ask him a few times, well, when? And he would ignore me. And so finally he said, well, you're pretty persistent, aren't you? The following Thursday night, I got off work and I had a voicemail from him, but no message. And I did not call him back, and I really wished I would have. My Randy said, oh, he was just calling to check in with his publisher, I'm sure. He passed away that next morning, Friday morning. And so Jen and Jed got on his computer, and sure enough, he had written one more chapter in his book.
Randy, he was my boss to begin with. He didn't teach me anything, and I mean that in a good way. He hired me. The next day I came in. Here's a stack of videotapes, VHS tapes. He said, "I want you to watch all this." All right. What am I supposed to do with these? Well, there's a test at the end of each chapter. That was Randy, though. He made me learn on my own. He did not provide me. He did not babysit me and coddle me. That is why I'm where I'm at today.
In Romans 8:38, it says, "And I am convinced nothing can ever separate us from God's love. Neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither our fear for today nor our worries about tomorrow, not even the powers of hell can separate us from God's love." Dad was just Dad. Nothing seemed to rattle him. He was always a rock. While he was unfazed by the outside world, one thing that always got him was his grandbabies. He loved them with all he had.
I don't think anybody would disagree with me if I said Big Randy was a very proud man, and he was fiercely proud of his kids. He was so very proud of Kristen when she decided to go back to nursing school and get her nursing degree. He was so very proud of my Randy for having the guts to start his own construction company. He was so very proud of Jen for the rock star mom she is to three of the cutest little girls I know. He was so very proud of Jen for the amazing, hardworking, loyal friend he was and still is to
He said someday we might all meet again in heaven.
The Lord loves all of his children. You can be certain that Randy is now a recipient of the Lord's love in the sphere where he's having a happy reunion, as Vince mentioned, with those family and friends that preceded him in death. He's awaiting a happier reunion with those of you here today, and it's your time. Although there is no substitute for the physical presence and affection of one so loving and kind as Randy, we pray that you will receive the blessed assurance that Randy is perfectly happy and once again with our Father in heaven. This is a sad time of parting, but it's certainly not a tragic time. President Russell M. Nelson, our prophet, said, "Life does not begin with birth, nor does it end with death. Prior to our birth, we dwelled as spirit children with our Father in heaven. There, we eagerly anticipated the possibility of coming to earth and obtaining a physical body. Knowingly, we wanted the risk of mortality, where we would exercise our agency and also find accountability. This life was to become a probationary state, a time to prepare to meet God. In the Book of Mormon, we're reminded of the regarded return home as the best part of the long-awaited trip. Just as we do now, before embarking on our journey, we like to have some assurance of a round-trip ticket. Returning from earth to life in our heavenly home requires passage through and not around the doors of death. Grief is not the byproduct or the natural product of love. One cannot selfishly love another person and not grieve at his suffering or eventual death. The only way to avoid the grief would be to not experience the love.
Randy died peacefully in his home in St. George, Utah on Friday, January 3rd. We found this book going through some of his stuff. And my kids got him this book for Christmas one year. And I was reading through it, and there was one page where it just sounded exactly like, when I'm on my Harley, I have time to think about whatever I want to. I can dream big dreams and think wonderful thoughts. Some of my best ideas have come when I'm writing. He taught us how to live life to the fullest. We love you, and we're going to miss you, and we can't wait for an awesome reunion with you.
When I come to the end of the road and the sun has set for me, I want no right in a gloom-filled room. Why cry for a soul set free? Miss me a little, but not for long, and not with your head bowed low. Remember the love that we once shared. Miss me, but let me go. For the journey that we all must take, and each must go alone, it's all a part of the Master's plan, a step on the road to home. When you are lonely and sick of heart, go to the friends we know and bury your sorrows in doing good deeds. Miss me, but let me go. Don't weep, don't sob, for I may have struck a better job. That fits Dad to a T. He wouldn't want us to be sad. He would want us to keep going forward. So with that, we will say a prayer for the old man, just in hopes that he will stay in our hearts forever and be with us on the good and bad days. In Matthew 11:28, come to me all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Thank you for being with us. We love and miss you, Dad. Rest easy. Me, Todd, Matt, and Randy will take it from here.